Week's edition of World Crisis Radio. This is Webster Tarpley speaking to you from Washington, D.C., and it's the afternoon as we record of Friday, June 4th, and European markets down 2 to 3%, U.S. markets down 2.5% right now. The Dow sitting just about 10,000, going below it, euro at about 120, having dipped below to 1.19. So the crash remains on. The second wave of the world depression continues to impact the globe. Second phase of the depression, the collapse of Europe, today as in 1931. Now there are, however, countervailing tendencies, and these are the important developments of the week. Germany has escalated its counterattack against the world forces of speculation, derivatives, and hedge funds. Previously on Tuesday, May 19th, Germany had banned, outlawed, naked credit default swaps. You cannot buy so-called insurance. Actually, you cannot place bets on the future behavior of Eurozone government bonds unless you own those bonds, according to that decree posted on Tuesday, May 19th. So now today, well, not today, but earlier this week, on Wednesday of this week, Wednesday, June 2nd, we have the German cabinet, and this is Chancellor Merkel, but above all, the finance minister, Schäuble, emerging as a tough cookie against the international speculators. A new package of administrative measures, regulations. These are with immediate effect. These are essentially executive orders, decree laws. From now on, it is illegal in Germany to sell stocks short if you don't have them. So naked shorts of stocks are illegal. They're a crime in Germany. It's also illegal to sell short government bonds. And, of course, they maintain the ban on naked credit default swaps. The idea with this in particular is if you think of the stock market, the new German regulation says if you want to sell a stock short, you must have that stock in your possession. Now, think what this does. It means that if you want to do this short selling routine, you've got to come up with the money, go out and buy the stock. This makes it more complicated and more expensive. And the other critical thing, the really important thing for the overall ability of the speculators to attack civilization, is if you do it this way, you're limiting the possible short sales to people who actually want to sell the stock, people who want to sell it to you or at least lend it to you. So it's limiting the amount of short selling that can actually go on, because if you have naked short selling, there's no limit to the amount of shorts that can be put on, right? The shorts can exceed the total number of stocks 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times. There's no limit. But if you have to go out and procure the stock, a physical, so to speak, physical or paper or electronic property of the stock, this strictly limits the amount of short selling that can go on. So with this, the Germans have struck another significant blow against the universe of hedge funds, hot money, the casino economy, the locusts. In other words, those forces of speculation which have been doing so much to tear down the edifice of world civilization as they pursue their crazed quest for private greed and private ill-gotten gain. In other words, the piracy, the looting, the sacking of world civilization by hedge funds, hedge fund hyenas, and zombie banks. Now, the motivation coming from the German government is very interesting. Here we have the deputy spokesman of the German federal government, Christoph Stegmanns, S-T-E-E-G-M-A-N-S, this past Wednesday in Berlin, announces that the cabinet has promulgated a law for the prevention of abusive stock and derivatives transactions. No the new key word is, you may remember the old Volkswagen commercial, Fahrvergnügen. Now it's Leerverkaufsverbot, empty sales prohibition, Leerverkaufsverbot. That is now in force. So this is now the law. So the motivation is that these transactions are transactions which potentially amplify or strengthen, exacerbate the crisis. And Schäuble, the finance minister, says that naked shorts in this crisis are, quote, they have grown to a, and I quote, no longer, it's a mass which we can no longer control. In other words, it's a magnitude which we can no longer control, and these are being used by investors to influence the development of the markets, I would say, to manipulate, to drug. And then the key quote, that's why we've outlawed them. Good quote. That's why we have outlawed them. Now, that is the voice of active. That's a government that is doing something, however limited, to protect the people from speculators, and that is the conflict of our time. Democrats tell you, party fanatics and ideologues will tell you, it's protect class and those who would lend it against hours of financial speculation and looting. It's why we outlaw them. Tone almost never heard here in the United States. Do a little more end of the best of examples of cash for the greater disfigure of anti-government ideologues, right-wing anarchists, Austrian schools, and all the rest. So anyway, there's your German government taking it one step further. Now that's highly significant because it comes, of course, after the visit by Tiny Tim Turbo Daxner to Berlin the previous week, the previous Thursday, I guess it was, when he attempted to lean on the German government and force them to at least cease and desist and, if possible, roll back their existing anti-derivatives measures. He failed, of course. This now the feckless featherweight Geithner attempting to take on the tough cookie Schäuble got nowhere, got his head handed to him, and now Germans have continued. These things now have the force of law. And of course, you've got the groaning, the moaning, the whining, the complaining, the carping criticism of the international fraternity of so-called economists. I would tell them, any of you economists out there who did not firmly forecast that there would be a systemic crash of the world derivatives system, a world financial system based on derivatives, if you didn't predict that, shut up, resign, give back your professorships, your degrees, whatever you have. You're charlatans. And that goes in particular for this group of Italians led by De Benedetti and Paolo Savona, speculator and Bank of Rome banker, who came forward to try to dissuade Berlusconi from joining the German band, and they've succeeded so far. So that's the fight right now, and we'll give you an update now on the attack measures coming from the U.S. and the British through the Financial Times and the Wall Street Journal when we come back here in a minute.